to make them simpler, more consistent, or easier to learn. The goal of spelling reform is often to improve literacy and make reading and writing more accessible. For example, we have also the case of spelling reform. First, we have the complexity and the inconsistency. Complexity and inconsistency. English spelling is notoriously inconsistent. For example, the word OUGH combination can be pronounced in several ways, as in though, through, and cough. So do you find it difficult? Yes, because this inconsistency can confuse learners and make it difficult to predict how to spell a word based on its pronunciation. So second, we have impact on literacy. So difficult spelling can hinder literacy rates. Many people struggle with spelling, which can affect their confidence and willingness to engage in reading and writing. Simplifying spelling can potentially make literacy more accessible to a broader audiences. For example, a child struggling to spell friend or F-R-I-E-N-D might feel discouraged and less likely to write stories or participate in class. That's how confidence is very important. So the last one, we have the globalization and language evolution. As English becomes a global lingua franca, the need for a more standardized and simplified spelling system may arise. Different dialects and variations of English can lead to further confusion, and a reformed spelling system could help unify the language. For example, a simplified spelling system could help non-native speakers learn English more easily, such as using photo spelled as F-O-T-O instead of photo, which is P-H-O-T-O. So that's the end of my discussion, and I hope you learned something. And for the continuation about the arguments against spelling reform, we have Mr. Val Capio, and for the example of spelling reform proposals, we have Mr. Joharis Unda.
So our next topic for today is argument against spelling reform. So the first one is cultural and historical significance. Spelling is deeply tied to the history and culture of a language. Many argue that changing spelling could erase important historical connections and riches of the language. For example, the word night, K-N-I-G-H-T, has historical roots, and changing it to night, N-I-T-A, would lose its connections to the past. So the next one is resistance to change. Language is often resistant to the change, and many people may be attached to the traditional spellings. So implementing a spelling reform could face significant pushback from educators, writers, and the general public. For example, many people might prefer to keep the traditional spelling of through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H, rather than switch to
could simplify spelling such as changing ISLE as I'll. It becomes ILE, I'll, while it's still the same in meaning. So the last one is standardization. So standardization, creating a standardized spelling system that applies uniformly across different dialects of English. Like for example, program. They spell the word program as PROGRAMME, and now it becomes PROGRAM. But it is still the same in meaning.
Hi class! And for today's video, we will be discussing the language change and the language reconstruction. Language change is a constantly developing new things to talk about, so we need to create new words, expression, or grammar to communicate about new things. I have some question here. Why does language change over time? So the idea of language change entails the development and modification of language throughout time. This change is observable in vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar as language evolves in response to social, culture, and technological changes. But there's more about language learning. So language learning is a scientific journal dedicated to the understanding of language learning broadly defined. But there are types of language change. Ms. Nina Zapato will be discussing these sound changes. Mr. Lloyd Musmo will be discussing lexical changes. Mr. Bernard Campos will be discussing the semantic changes.
Here discuss types of language change. First is sound changes. An alteration is how language is pronounced. A sound change may entail the substitution of a particular speech sound, or more broadly, a specific phonetics feature value. With another, referred to as phonetic change, or a broader alteration of the existing speech sounds, phonological change. Like the combination of new sounds or the emergence of a new sound.
I'm here to discuss the lexical changes, a process through which the vocabulary of a language evolves over the time. This can occur through various mechanisms, including the creation of new words, changes in the word meaning, changes in the borrowing of terms from other languages. Go. Here are the simple meaning of lexical changes: blending, combining parts of two words to create a new word.
I'm going to discuss the semantic changes. It's a form of language change regarding the evaluation of words. Usage recently to the point that the modern meaning is radically different from the original usage.
Go.
Here are some examples of semantic changes.
Go.
Reading. Nice originally meant bluish.
And Mr. Renan Montemarger will be discussing the social factor and language contact.
Today I'm going to discuss about social factors. Language arts is often influenced by social factors including migration, contact with other languages, and shape in cultural norms. For example, the rise of the internet and social media has led to the creation of Pidgin emerged as a simplified language for communication between native Hawaiians and foreign traders. Example, aloha, bro. How are you stay? Hello brother, how are you?
And lastly, Mr. Dan Flores will be discussing the standardization versus variation and language depth. So no worries guys, I will be right back. Mr. Zapanta will be right back. Bye!
Discuss the standardization versus variation. Standardization versus variation. The process of standardizing a language into the suppression of dialect and regional variation. However, variation is a natural part of language that reflects the diversity of human experience.
Go.
This
Kuska.
This example, color, is the standard spelling in British English. Color is a standard spelling in American English. Both words have the same meaning, but the spelling is standardized differently in different languages. This shows how language can have variations in spellings, vocabulary, or grammar, but still be widely understood and used. Language test. Same language becomes when their speakers shift to another language, often due to social, political, or economic pressures. Language test can lead to the loss of cultural heritage and knowledge.
And today I will be discussing the language reconstruction, which is this is the last slide or this is the last page of our PowerPoint. So next, language reconstruction have 6 types. We have here comparative method. Second is proto-languages. Third is internal reconstruction. Fourth is limitation. Fifth is cultural context. Sixth is technologies advances. So comparative method is a linguist use the comparative method to reconstruct aspects of ancient or untested languages by comparing similarities and differences among related languages. So I have the example of internal reconstruction. In English, the verb go has an irregular past tense. We have went. By analyzing the internal structure of English verbs, linguists can infer that go and when come from a common ancestral form. So I have some example of comparative method. Comparing the words for father in a different language. We have here English, German, Dutch, Spanish. So for the English is father, for the German is vater, and for the Dutch is vader, and the Swedish is far. The second one is proto-languages. Proto-Indo-European is the reconstructed ancestor of many modern languages in Europe and parts of Asia. Third is internal reconstruction. This technique involves analyzing irregularities within a single language to infer or historical changes. By examining the patterns of variation, linguists can make educated guesses about earlier form of languages. Fourth is limitation. Reconstruction can provide valuable insights. It has limitations. The further back one goes, the less data available, making challenging reconstruction languages accurately. And I have some example of limitation. In limitation, I have here some example. The lack of written records for many ancient languages makes it difficult to reconstruct their grammar and vocabulary. Fifth is cultural context. It is a language of reconstruction. It's not just about phonetics and grammar. It also involves understanding the cultural and historical context of the speakers. So, the examples, fifth is cultural context. It is a language of reconstruction. It's not just about phonetics and grammar. It also involves understanding the cultural and historical context of the speakers. 6 is technology's advances. Advances in technologies such as computational linguistics and machine learning are enhancing the ability to analyze language data and reconstruct languages more effectively. Cultural context language is shaped by its cultural context. Example, in many indigenous cultures, language is closely tied to traditional knowledge and practices. The loss of language can lead to the loss of cultural heritage. Technological advances have improved linguistic reconstruction. Computational methods such as phylogenetic analysis have enabled linguists to reconstruct language relationship more accurately and efficiently. So that is the end of our 6 is technology's advances. Advances in technologies such as computational linguistics and machine learning are enhancing the ability to analyze language data and reconstruct languages more effectively. And that is the end of our discussion. We are